Hey there, my name is Pravus and welcome back to more Kingdoms Reborn, playing as the Emirates. Alright, I got some bad news. This might very well be the last video for this series. Not because I'm not having fun, and not because there isn't more to do, because there's a lot more. But because this is not the first time that I have tried to record this video. I actually got in about 2 hours of recording on this, and then it crashed the game and corrupted the save file. And I looked into it, and the reason it crashed was because this game ate up every spare bit of memory that my computer had until it caused like a memory overflow and just crashed the whole thing. And I can't keep having that happen for obvious reasons, and if the game's performance is going to die that much, then that's just, well, that's kind of not acceptable. It just kind of hits a point where at some point there's so much going on that the game just doesn't seem able to keep up without demolishing your computer. Now, at the same time, I ordered some more memory for my computer. I got some upgrades on the way. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind, but just be prepared for the very strong likelihood that I'm going to say, nope, we're unfortunately done with this one. That's just going to be what it's going to be. So the concrete factory is next on the list. We're going to get that done. Then we'll be able to move on to electricity. Electricity is sometimes okay. I mean, it's interesting in that you can actually get a lot of upgrades for buildings. Every single building we have basically is going to be able to benefit from electricity, but we'll need to get steel set up as well. And we're going to want to have a reliable source of coal in order to fuel everything. And I would say we can just trade for it. That's fine. Except I still, to this day, after all of this, don't know for sure where the coal always drops off. Right? It's so far been inconsistent. I've tried tracking it, and it's never been always what I want it to be. So what we may want to do is consider moving a small colony out over here into these mountains where we have some coal, and then set up basically the coal generators over here, and that will be enough to supply the entire city consistently and make sure everything runs smoothly. We're also in desperate need of some food. You'll notice down over here that our consumption has been skyrocketing, and even with all of my purchases, it's never been quite enough. I could set up even more trading companies just to increase my trading capacity, right? Because we're kind of limited by this. And then just import a lot more food. And with the amount of money we're making right now, that's a completely viable thing, and I'll probably have to do that to some degree. We also should consider possibly working to set up some farms out in this general area, because this is the only fresh water that I've got. We are not exactly a fertile nation. You may notice, way out over here maybe, but we can't even do irrigation because you need fresh water for that, and it's all over here anyway. So amongst all of these mountains, I think we're going to have to go ahead and set up a handful of farms all along the riverbanks and let a lot more food get siphoned back into our town, using the haulers to specifically send it to the center where it can then get distributed as needed. Well, this isn't a good sign. The music just stopped. It's completely gone. Just in the middle of the song. It was like, okay. Like I'm saying, the game is struggling. The game is struggling in a big freaking way right now. It's kind of unfortunate. So something I just researched are the blueberry seeds, because it would be kind of fun to start making pumpkins and melons, but in order to get those, you need to grow a lot of pumpkins, and you need to grow a lot of blueberries, so yeah, that's not going to be a thing for a little while. If we're really worried about food, one thing we can do very, very quickly right now is actually just research upgrades for our farms. And by doing this several times, we're going to get like an extra, what, 18%-ish farming productivity? Plus, we could move on to the farm water management card, which would allow us to boost ourselves up by 8% in the town. It's not too bad. Could even set some of those up so they go to, like, let's say we create another colony somewhere, right? And that's basically just our breadbasket colony, and we can just have them be really, really good at producing food and then sending all of it back to the capital. That would be an option. Not sure it's what I want to do, but it is an option. I think at the end of this year, instead of producing lots of cactus fruit, we'll go ahead and start producing all of these blueberries. Now, if you're wondering down over here, I am setting up a giant smelting area. We have our industrial iron smelter, which is no different than the iron smelters we had before, but it does a lot more at a time, right? So you got 27 ore and coal, becoming 129 bars before I even give it any upgrades. Also setting up a couple of mints, because we are grossly overproducing gold bars, so I figure, might as well just get some money, and 52 gold bars become 6,000 gold. Cool, why not? Then we have the steelworks. So with these guys, we're going to need a lot of steel at some point, because this is necessary for every electricity upgrade does take some of those iron bars, of which I am producing plenty, and convert them into something else. Again, making use of the coal. Coal is going to end up being an issue for us at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we want to have a limit of, like, let's say 3,000 instead. Go ahead and start importing a lot more coal. We need that to fuel the fires of industry. Dear God, we are really good at making chocolate. Look at this. Ah, wow. Everyone loves chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate? I'll tell you what, the women of this city are absolutely thrilled. Fantastic flippin' stuff. All right. Well, we should be automatically exporting a bunch of that anyway, so that's going to translate into even more money for me. I'm having to export a lot of my excess gold ore because, well, we're producing a bit too much on that front as well. Yeah, we got a lot of excess, various different types of resources. Food, at least, is starting to finally go up. Not necessarily because of production, but simply because we are buying a lot. So we're keeping ourselves alive. Originally, it was like 11,000, and now it's up to 17. We'll call that a win. That's good. Something I'm going to go ahead and do is start importing a tier 3 luxury. Books, specifically. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, I plan on making them myself. But if we can import them, what that's going to do is start giving me some delicious level 8 houses. And these level 8 houses are going to get me not only more money, which helps pay for the fact that I'm buying the books, but also more science. And I, well, you know, kind of desperately would like to have more science. Gosh, man, not having rationalism is such a penalty in this game. It actually is probably a bit of an imbalance, I would say, if rationalism is basically necessary in order to progress with this game at a reasonable pace. Like, romanticism, you know, it was obviously a mistake to pick it. I misunderstood or I forgot how something was going to work. But at the same time, it's interesting to see how romanticism simply falls flat in every possible way. Like, it's just nothing near as good. Just like capitalism is guaranteed to be better than communism in this game. So it seems to me that either rationalism should be nerfed and the cost of all technologies reduced so it ends up being the same when you play rationalism regardless, but also makes the game easier for romanticism. Or, I mean, basically put, I'm just never, ever going to play with romanticism again. And if that's what the developers are okay with, well then, you know, fine, sure. I mean, if that's their design intent, okay. In the meantime, electricity is finally done. Excellent. So we could move on to petroleum, and this would reveal oil on the map, which could be kind of fun. I mean, getting things like scientific theories for 20% more science output from houses is pretty good. What we definitely want to get is a paper mill, which will let us move on to the printing press and start making some of our own books. But also, it says only produces paper, but I happen to know that paper mills also can create toilet paper, which is just straight up a tier 3 luxury from only wood, without requiring all the extra steps of making books. So toilet paper is an easier tier 3, just saying. All right, so here's our coal plant. Now, I don't think you have to have any way of transferring the goods back to your city. It should automatically apply power everywhere. Now, the reason I had these extra houses over here is because I plan on having a handful of these coal power plants. And by a handful, I mean, I don't know, a bunch? Well, at least 3 or 4 probably to start. Each one of them is able to produce 50 kilowatts, I believe, of electricity. And every building that we hook up to the power grid takes like 4 or 5. But this is only good if you have a consistent source of coal being fed into it, because it will burn through this pretty quickly. It doesn't have a very large inventory, right? That's kind of important to get this set up. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because when I tried to record this video before the game crashed earlier, I set up my coal power plants down over here by the smelters, thinking, okay, it's already out of the way. But for some reason, the people who were working there lived way out over here, so the travel time was terrible. Also, I couldn't get coal to spawn where I needed it to from trading, so I literally watched people walk all the way over here to get some coal and walk it all the way back, which meant I had very, very spotty power production. It just simply was not acceptable. So my hope here is by placing the coal power plants right next to the coal production right here, as long as we are producing enough of it, we should be able to keep these things fed pretty much all the time, which means I should be able to start making use of power. Now, the problem with hooking up to the electrical grid is once you're hooked up, if you're not hooked up, I don't think you make any more progress. Like, if you run out of electricity, I don't think people will work by hand anymore. Could be wrong on that, but I think so. So we'll worry about that, but it is 50% faster. And And if you do this, you can continue spending steel, boosting it even further. Look at this. So now 52 paper becomes 7,000 science, and it should work really, really fast. This is why I have been importing a fair bit of steel, with the anticipation that I'm going to want to do this. I also think that I should probably go ahead and hook my steel production up to the electrical grid and let them work extra fast, because we're going to need it. So you can see here we now do have enough electricity, because the coal power generators should be on, and I'm hoping they're going to stay on. And in the meantime, this should get me a lot more science. Like a lot more science, because 50% boosts on these already very slow buildings is gonna be huge. This is also, by the way, the reason that I set up some hauling services over here, so that the people who are working in the coal mines can keep doing this forever. The people working in the coal plants can keep doing that forever. And these guys have the highest carrying capacity, so hopefully they grab like 50 and drop it over here all of the time. That's the goal anyway. Make sure that we have plenty of coal coming in. You can see that they are churning through that coal fairly fast, hence why you need people dedicated just to dropping off coal again and again and again and again. Where are you guys going right now? I'm a little concerned. Is there not enough coal over here? There's not. Hang on. Delivery target here, delivery target over here. I'm hoping that all the coal is being sent over this direction. If these guys have to start going into town to get coal, we could very quickly find ourselves in a situation where I'm going to have some blackouts. And I don't much care for that, none at all. Yeah, case in point, notice that these coal power plants are almost completely out of coal, because we're simply not able to deliver it as fast as I need people to. Oh, for the love of God. All right, well, simple solution is just have a lot more coal production in this area and try to brute force it with sheer productivity. Starting to get our first round of level 8 houses in here now. We're up to 64 of them. So this level 8 house is producing 197 science each. I mean, that seems pretty decent. Where's a level 7 house? We got some down over here. Yeah, that one's making 181. Doesn't seem like that big of a difference, does it? But I suspect it's going to add up at some point. At least I certainly hope it's going to. How are the farms doing up over here? Pretty good. Got a lot of blueberries being farmed up at any given time. It's going to be a while still before we can go... Oh, no, we can go for pumpkins now, actually. All right, well, we have made enough of those, so it will be nice to transition to getting pumpkins and start working on melons. I don't know if melons are, like, literally any better than any other options, but it would be kind of fun. What I really want to do is get this bookworm up and running pretty soon. Even if that means I have to buy books, who cares? 50% extra science in houses with books is great. Yes, we'll be consuming a lot, but do you know how much money I'm making? Do I look like I care about the price of books? By all means, be frivolous with your books. Expand thine minds. Gain knowledge. I encourage it, I swear. There we go. Now we're starting to see some consistent power coming out of the coal plants. This is good. Have to have 10 people dedicated, of course, just to getting coal and taking care of everything here, and I had to have a whole load of people working in the mines, but that's all right. I even had to assign electricity to the mines to make sure they produce enough, but it's fine. It's working. That's all that matters, is that it's working. Let's go ahead and research those pumpkin seeds for fun, then we'll worry about getting the books. Now, we can get our first paper mill, and we will certainly be doing that. Let's see. I need to toss you up here, bring you down here. There we go. So, paper mill, big building, you know, kind of like before. We're going to go ahead and set a big one up over this direction, I think, kind of close to all of these guys. We could produce paper, or, of course, like I suggested, we could just start making a whole load of toilet paper, because toilet paper is the most important luxury of all. So go ahead and set that up. Don't care about the electric machinery right now, but we will use a drying cylinder, so we use half the wood. Advanced machinery for extra productivity for level 8 house, which we now have. Man, my tongue completely lost the train on that one, didn't it? And then we can go for the paper mill town so I can get more of these set up. We'll just go ahead and boost up their work hours and everything else, toss in a couple of books, and now 22 wood becomes 41 toilet paper. Doesn't seem like a lot, because it's not, but that's why we're going to get more of these things. And just so you're aware, we're kind of now reaching the point where previously I had, well, crashed. So I'm hoping we're not going to run into that again. I'm watching the task manager like a hawk. And right now, at speed 3, we're only taking up about 8 gigs of memory right now. Bring that up to speed 4. Doesn't look like it's changing that much. Of course, I can't actually do anything right now, you may notice. It's having a little trouble. But when it crashed, this thing was using like 40 gigs of memory all of a sudden. It was just like, nope. Computer's like, I'm a good computer, but even I can't handle that one. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Fair enough. Auto trade import did not fully... Oh, storages were full. What? I shouldn't be anywhere close to full. I've got like 1,000 free slots. Where the heck was I auto trading that wasn't able to actually process? That's terrifying. Oh, crap. I just realized I haven't actually been exporting any beer out of New Emirlands over here. Whoops. Got almost 6,000 stored up. Let's try not to ever have more than, like, let's say 3,000. Go ahead and start selling this off. And make me a lot of money. That sounds great. How are we doing on food and stuff, by the way? Oh, really good, actually. It still looks like we're not producing enough, but it's a lie. We are buying all that we need, and we are definitely building up a safe stockpile, so that's all working out exactly as intended at the moment. Zooktalu, I missed some blueberries. Well, that's fine. Anyway, so how many of those have we produced? We're only about halfway there to getting melons. Not like it matters that much. I'm almost done with the printing press. I mean, I'm getting there anyway. Still looking at just over 8 gigabytes of memory, so I'm watching this and watching it very, very closely. If I can get this bookworm slotted, oh man alive, would that be nice? And it would make absolutely everything a lot easier. I don't really see any point in worrying about any more military units, by the way. It certainly seems like the AI doesn't bother with anything. So really, like, why care? So yeah, I don't see any reason why we need more military units, and frankly, it's just too much of a pain to go and conquer anyone. Also, I'm still making 10,000 influence per cycle and 150,000 gold. Do I look like someone who needs vassals to survive? Abso-frickin-lutely not! Oh my god, we have the printing press. That's amazing. I can't believe I've made it this far without crashing. That's so stinking good. Okay, maybe we actually won't end this series yet then. I don't know, I was ready to be all doom and gloom, but like, I mean, if we can keep this going... Maybe we just keep it going, dude. All right, so printing press then. Well, let's think about this for a second. We're going to want to at least have a couple of these to start. We're probably going to want a bunch of them, but we'll see how this goes for just 2 right now. So we should be producing some paper in places like this. Let's set the delivery target over here so it's easy to drop off. Could get some electric machinery. We'll worry about that later. Let's start with the advanced machinery, which only requires level 7 houses. We got plenty of them. And then, yeah, just get a whole bunch of these, and they make each other more effective. So, 42 paper becomes 44 books. Or 51, actually, if we start paying people more. And we can boost this up a little bit more. To be honest, because we're already buying books pretty consistently from the market, I don't know that I care about expanding this too much more. What I really, really, really want is this bookworm card, and try to get my science to jump up by about... Let's see... Are we only getting 1,000? Okay, hang on. Hang on a second. Houses with books. Are we only boosting up the house base from food, or are we talking about the house from luxury? Because if I can add another 9,000 science or so onto this with the bookworm, depending on whether it's additive or multiplicative, like, yeah, that sounds great. But if it only gives me 500, then I've been barking up the wrong tree for way too long. You know something that baffles me? I don't know if this is just me doing something wrong or what, but I'm looking at these coal power plants, right? And they're not really making a ton of coal over here. I've got 1,000 coal sitting in this warehouse. I have 15 haulers set over here with all of these in their radius. Why is it that somehow I'm still only seeing little trickles being added in here instead of giant stacks of like 25 or 50 or whatever it is that haulers can carry? I mean, it's supposed to be a pretty good amount, right? And yet it seems like all the workers of the coal power plants are manually picking up a single lump of coal and then walking it over here and tossing it. Every once in a while, somebody with a wheelbarrow comes by, but it's never a full amount. With this many workers and this much coal here, should we not be constantly sitting around 50? Right? Wouldn't that just make sense? I don't freaking know, dude, but that's just, to me, that makes sense. Oh my god, we finally have the bookworm card. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let's go ahead and learn about the melons. Do I need melons? No! Would I like melons? Yes! What a glorious berry a melon is. Yes, I've learned this the hard way. It is absolutely a freaking berry. Okay, cooperative fishing. You know what? You served your purpose, but at this point we are able to import food so much that it doesn't matter. So, bookworm card. We take you out for a second. So, it's 36,000 science per round is what I've got right now. Man, I've grown a lot this video. Toss this in. Oh, there we go. Okay. Bookworm is getting me 12,000 more science. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that speeds things up at least a fair bit. I mean, that's, I don't want to do the math per se, but I mean, we were making 36. You add on another 12 plus. It was actually more than 12. If it was just 12, it would have been at 48, wouldn't we? Huh. How did that work exactly? Somehow we seem to have increased our science production by, I want to say, around like 30-ish%. Ballparking it. Don't check my math. I know it's wrong. I'm literally just doing the brainless maths. But, yeah, the point is, debating whether I should pull out my calculator because people are going to say something in the comments. You know they will! Anyway, but the point is, all of a sudden, now we're making what I would consider a much more reasonable amount of science. If we had rationalism, we'd probably be getting closer to 80 to 100,000 by now. At least I feel like that's what we've usually had in the past, but that's fine. Now, our consumption of books is about to freaking skyrocket. We now consume about 1,000 per year. Very expensive. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Look how much money I am making. 185,000 gold. I've got 10 million in the bank. This is absolutely a worthwhile price for me to pay if it gets me some stinking science at a reasonable gosh dang freaking gosh dang pace. And there's the melons. Okay, what else is a really important thing for me to get? Social welfare would let me get a lot of happiness. Not super important right now. We could start making fashionable clothes. Don't really care. More production on farms when there's 8 or more farms. If you think by now I don't have more than 8 farms, I don't know what's wrong with you. The rest of this is like, it's okay, but it's not important. Sultan's Grand Palace would be really fun to build, and I feel like we kind of have to. As a matter of principle for like a finale, am I right? Bling bling. Okay, luxury, happiness, and houses with jewelry. Well, I mean, we have plenty of jewelry being produced, but I don't care about too much about that. All right, well, I think I want to move towards scientific theories for even more science. And also, I wouldn't mind learning how to get some oil rigs and some oil power plants up and running, so I can stop relying on this dang coal, which has way too many uses in the world, so it's being used up everywhere else. But if I had oil, and we are in freaking deserts, so if I don't have a frick ton of oil down here, I'm going to be very disappointed. But my thought is, we should be able to use that oil to produce a load of consistent power, and I've only turned on basically the research buildings for electricity consumption, a couple other exceptions, but that's about it. We're still not making anywhere close to enough use of electricity. So all I need is oil. Lots and lots of sweet, sweet oil. We can do that, and we can build the Grand Sultan's Palace. I think that'll be enough for me to say we're good for a finale. Yes? I'm going to try to do one more video. The fact that I was able to keep my memory under control, it's 9 gigs now, makes me think that maybe, just maybe, we can go for one more video, so that's what we're going to do. Next video will be the finale. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please hit that thumbs up button if you did, because I worked hard for this video. This took about 5 hours in total for me to make at this point, for one video. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time in Kingdoms Reborn.